doom scrolling. Endlessly and mindlessly scrolling through feeds of shit that you really don't want to see on some social media platform, site, or app. You know, we've all done it. Especially in today's age, today's digital age. We've all done it from time to time, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It's mostly unintentionally, but we've all done it. You know, I know I have. And for me personally, it was Facebook. That's where I doom scrolled, you know. And with Facebook, it was kind of literal doom scrolling because I've said this in the past. A lot of Facebook nowadays is just doom and gloom and depressing shit and fear mongering, like I've talked about before. And yeah, so it's literal doom, doom scrolling. But yeah, and I know it's different for other people and other different platforms and whatnot. I know doom scrolling is different for everyone and everything. But yeah, I used to do it quite a lot. You know, endlessly and mindlessly scrolling through Facebook, all the depressing, horrible, awful doom and gloom and fear mongering and awful, depressing shit. And after a while, sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it. And then once you're doing it, you're like, well, I can't stop now. It kind of feels like you can't. It almost becomes like an addiction. Become kind of addicted to doing it in a weird kind of way. And then it just, yeah. And that's not good for you. That's not good for anyone. It's not good for your overall well-being, and mental health at all. And like in the end, when I was doing it, it was just making me feel like crap, making me feel awful. And so nowadays, what I do is I limit myself on Facebook. You know, I only ever get on there to check up on certain close friends and or family, and that's it. I don't stick around and start scrolling and doom scrolling again because I know if I do that, I'm just gonna feel like shit again eventually, and I'm gonna get addicted to it again, and then it's not good. It's not good. And I don't want that. So I limit myself while on Facebook. And I feel like that's what everyone should do, at least. Because I understand sometimes you're not able to, completely disconnect and go cold turkey or, cut yourself off from that social media completely. I understand some people are not able to do that. I know with Facebook, sometimes I can't do that because that's the only way I can connect with, people in my life, close friends, family, whatever. Facebook is a good way of connecting with people in that way. So it's kind of hard to, go cold turkey and completely cut off yourself and disconnect yourself from these social media platforms. So I understand some people can't do that. But yeah, I at least recommend limiting yourself on these social media platforms that you're doom scrolling on as much as you can. And and just try not to doom scroll. I know it's hard. Try not to doom scroll while you're on them for that limited amount. I know it's hard sometimes. I understand. Trust me, I do. Because, these social media platforms can be addicting, and doom scrolling itself, like I said, can be weirdly addicting too, for some reason. And yeah, I know. So it's hard to just limit yourself, and it's also even harder to completely cut them off completely and disconnect and go cold turkey. But I think you should, either limit yourself, or if you're able to, completely cut yourself off from them and disconnect and go cold turkey, if you're able to. Because it's much better for your well being and your mental health. Because doom scrolling does no one any good whatsoever. It doesn't do anyone any good. And yeah. And it sucks. It sucks because, like I said, in today's age, it's kind of hard not to be online. So most of the time we end up falling down these fucking doom scrolling fucking rabbit hole things where you kind of become addicted to it and everything. Yeah, it's just awful. But like I said, limit yourself, and if you're able to, limit yourself as much as possible, and if you're able to, cut yourself off completely and disconnect and go cold turkey. Because, yeah. But, yeah.